I appreciate you guys giving up a little bit of your evening to come and hear our presentation. We think we've got some important information to share with you guys. So anyway, in case y'all don't know Mr. Brown, I'm one of the high school counselors. This is Miss Kinjura. She's the other one, and we'll introduce Mr. Torres and Ms. Schindler in a little bit. They're gonna talk too. Our administration, just for your information. So our principal is Rhonda Meath. Assistant principals are Tony Graham and Darius Robertson. Mr. Graham deals with the alphabet A through K, and Mr. Robertson deals with the alphabet L through Z. And I'm Mr. Brown. I do A through K. Ms. Kinjura does L through Z. Kathy Stevenson is not going to be here tonight, but she does the dual credit. And Ms. Valdez isn't going to be here tonight either. She's the counselor secretary. And Ms. Bleicher is the registrar, and Kristen Morgan is our community and schools. So our senior student success advisors are Ms. Shelley Schindler and Mr. Raymond Torres, and they're going to talk a little bit tonight.
Okay, great. Good evening. Again, thanks for being here. I'm Ms. Schindler, and this is Dr. Torres. We are senior advisors. So where Ms. Kinjura and Mr. Brown work tirelessly to make sure that all your children have the credits that they need for graduation, Dr. Torres and I work with them to make sure they're ready for life after high school, whether that be the workforce, college, or military. Let's see. So you're going to start seeing CCMR if you haven't already. And what that means is college, career, or military ready. So there's different ways to go about achieving that. College ready is kind of the most complicated. You'll meet criteria on AP exams. There's also college readiness standards in reading and math for these three tests: the SAT, the ACT, and the TSI 2.0. All of the juniors will take the SAT in March. I think the 12th is when they're going to take it. And they also take the ASVAB, which isn't up here, it's not part of that, but they'll take the ASVAB in the fall. They already took it. So there's also dual credit courses, and there's some different criteria for that. If it's specific to you, they can earn an associate's degree or meet standards on composite indicators, including college readiness. For career readiness, they can earn an industry-based certification. We have several. They're all listed in the course selection, so you can see if there's anything that your child is interested in. And military readiness is enlistment in one of the armed forces.
Now, there may be a time that you want to visit a college, and lo and behold, for your juniors and seniors, you are very lucky, because here you actually have, the district shall excuse a student for up to 2 days during their junior year, and also 2 days during your senior year to visit an accredited institution of higher education. And of course, but you have to submit the required documentation to show that you visit the university, and of course, in accordance with the administrative regulation. And of course, so make sure you pick up the green form from the front office here at the high school.
Yeah, and take advantage of that opportunity. It's really important that as you start looking at different colleges, that you visit the campus, because you can really learn a lot more about it when you're actually on campus. So you'll be seeing more of us as time goes by. So thanks so much.
All right, so was there one before this one? No. Okay. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the GPA. GPA is what you find on the transcript. Transcript is the record of all the courses that are taken in high school. And it begins with the 9th grade, and it continues up through the 12th grade year. The transcript is what's submitted if a student's going to be applying to universities, and there's other instances where they'll need to submit their transcripts too. But yeah, if they're going to do applications, they'll have to have a transcript transcript submitted for them. So, and on that transcript is the GPA, that's the grade point average. And a grade point average can be either weighted or unweighted. And here at Rock Springs, we use a weighted grade point average. Rockport, okay. You know, I've been doing that all day. Y'all probably don't, many years ago, back when I was still teaching English, I worked at a little town about an hour and a half from the border called Rock Springs, and so I get sometimes it just pops out. But anyway, so Rockport, we use a weighted GPA, and of course we use the transcripts to monitor academic progress and for college and university admissions and scholarship and merit aid considerations and ranking in the top 10% and quartiles. Why the top 10% is important is because in the state of Texas, at a publicly funded university, if they're in the top 10%, they get in automatic admission. So you know, some kids that's a pretty big deal. It's actually a really good deal. And the rankings are updated usually around the end of January. So we're coming up on the time when they'll probably be updated when Ms. Blacker gets to it. I don't know if y'all know, but we've kind of had several of our office staff out, and other people had to cover. Ms. Blacker is one of those that's had to cover, so she hasn't been in her office as much as she usually is. So the GPA calculations for the 11th grade, they're the last class coming through that's under the old system, the old calculation system. And the old system averaged everything. So they averaged the English, math, science, history, or social studies, foreign language, and the electives. Things that didn't average into the GPA were the correspondence, credit by exam, SEL courses, summer school, local credit classes, and driver's education. So those were not used, but everything else was. Under the new GPA calculations, the only courses that are used to calculate the GPA are the courses that deal with English, science, math, social studies, fine art, the first one taken that counts as the fine art credit, or fulfills the fine art credit, and PE, the first one taken that fulfills the PE credit. And languages other than English, the first two taken, because two are required. Ms. Kendra will talk about that a little bit, but two are required for graduation, so the first two taken. So these are what will go into the GPA calculations.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yes.
Is that current 9th and 10th graders, or is that rising?
It's
Current.
the current
Current.
9 and 10.
Yeah.
Check and make sure.
Yeah.
So from 10th grade down, starting from this year's 10th graders.
Those are
down.
the first ones.
Yes,
So now I'm going to get myself in a lot of trouble because I'm going to try to explain some instances where. So what's not here is, or the only time that a dual credit course would calculate into the GPA is if it fits under one of these. So say a lot of our students will take, instead of taking English 4, they'll take dual credit English through Del Mar. And that will count. But a lot of our kids will take psychology. Psychology doesn't fit under any of these. And it's not going to count. Does that make sense? Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
If they take a language other than English in middle school, does that count, their grade count?
as their first two taken. Cause she took both Spanish as a middle school at another school. But is that gonna count towards
If
her?
she received credit for a high school credit course, yes, it will.
Yeah,
All-
yes, it goes.
Including any student that takes PE at Rockport-Fulton Middle School, that takes PE for high school credit and their fine arts. Right now, they're offering Art 1. So any of those students who've taken those for high school credit will come up with those credits as well. And it will be calculated in their GPA.
So, any other questions on the GPA stuff? Just your,
Talk about it. There's a lot of information there. We have course selections coming up for next school year, 2022, 2023. And here's just some dates, and I'm just gonna highlight a few things. Starting tomorrow, Mr. Brown and I are gonna be in the social studies classes, and we're gonna talk about their planning for next school year. And we've created a worksheet, and we're gonna link it on their home, on the students' home Skyward. And it's just like a Google form, so they can go in there and they can choose their English and their math and their science and their social studies. I will tell you, parents, that the students can go on Skyward, and we'll talk about this tomorrow. We've visited with every grade level this year, so they can go in their Skyward account and click on their graduation requirements, and they can see what courses they've earned credit for, what courses are in progress, and what's still remaining. So that's what we're gonna remind them of tomorrow. So as they're planning, where am I? What have I completed so far? What's in progress? What's remaining? And so this little worksheet's gonna help them, so when we come back the following week, the 24th, and start working with them, Mr. Brown and I will be having one-on-one conversations with your students. We're going to review their transcripts, and we're going to have them enter their course requests in Skyward, and then we're gonna verify, yes, those are courses you need for next year. And so that's our plan. Then, what we're going to do, it will lock down after we're finished Skyward. And by the way, parents, you won't be able to go in and enter course requests for your student in your parent portal. You have to go into the student portal to be able to do that. But they can open it up for you, and you can work together with them. Then it will lock down for a couple of weeks. We'll be going in and sending rosters and information to teachers. We'll be looking at what the students have requested. Is that the right fit? Do we need to have some conversations, make some adjustments and things like that? We'll open Skyward back up on February 23rd through the 27th, and then we'll have a change request form that the students can go in and with the parent and make any changes that they want to make for the next school year. Okay? Is that clear as mud? There's a lot going on in January and February. So let's get to the meat of it. So
I have a
how
question.
does course selection work?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
When students are in 8th grade, coming into 9th grade, is there a master plan that's established that says that as a freshman, I'm gonna take this course, as a sophomore, I'm gonna take this course, as a junior, I'm gonna take this course, as a senior, I'm gonna take this course, that kind of maps out this?
Yes, there is a 4-year plan. Or
Yes, ma'am.
there's different terminology. It can be called personal graduation plan, PGP, or 4-year plan. So we
So
have,
when our, so when our students are going in and making changes, are they making changes to this, I mean, are they locked into this plan, or are our students just going in each year and kind of willy-nilly choosing the classes that
they
they want?
don't have to willy-nilly choose. The
But
students
no, I'm
from
saying,
last
they
year.
can choose whatever they want.
Yes, sir. So I'll give you an example. We've added Zello as a platform that students can use for college planning, and they can do interest surveys and all kinds of quizzes. And one of the things that they can use now, we've created an electronic format for these students to go in and do their 4-year plan. And so that's what we worked with middle school last week. It's just a plan. Any higher level students, your 11th grade, 10th, and 9th grade, did a paper form, except last year's 9th graders, because we were in and out of school, so they did an electronic form, and they were able to email it to themselves. But again, it's just a plan. They can open it up, because if they're sitting there and they're thinking, wow, what did I plan for next year? Or what pathway was I going to be on? Did I plan to take intro to
I was
welding?
talking about me.
Sir?
That's the problem I had. I forgot when my child,
Okay.
you know, so that all the new changes came.
So,
I'm sorry.
a couple of things you can do. You can ask your student, do you know how to locate your personal graduation plan? If they can't, contact us, we can pull it, and then they can look at it. It's not gonna drive their course selections. It was planned for them. The state of Texas wants our students to start thinking about what are they going to do post-secondary after high school. And this is a way for our students to plan out, what can we do in high school that's gonna better prepare me for after high school? And so, it is just a plan,
All right, thank you.
okay? It's not gonna, they're not locked in at all if that's what we're asking. Any more questions about that? Okay. Those are good questions, thank you for asking. So we already have the, course description catalog up on our website. So you can go in and look at it to see what courses are available for next year. What are some of the prerequisite requirements, and all the other information, descriptions of the courses and things like that. Also, student course selections are gonna be, this is a repetition of the previous slide, but the 23rd through the 27th, again, they're gonna be able to, available for input, your review, and then make those necessary changes that they need to make. I think one of the things that's most important about this, and as we talk about it in just a minute, is, we want students to really have a good plan for next year. We can't have them coming in the fall semester and want to start changing their courses because our master schedule is built based on what our students select. So how many courses do we need for this particular area, and this particular area, and this particular area? And that's what drives it. If students all of a sudden want to make changes, then we don't have the staff, we don't have the classrooms and all that. So that's why we're pretty hard pressed to tell them, no, we're not gonna make any changes after we're finished with this, planning. Okay, just this may be a review, but what's important,
I have one question.
yes ma'am.
So is the 27th the absolute last time they can change their course for next year, so that way you'll have your master plan?
She might wanna open it up one more time for review, she has in the past, Ms.
Okay.
Meath has opened it in the past,
Mhm.
late April, early May.
Okay,
She has not given me those dates yet.
okay,
I would suspect that we might open it one more time, we have previously,
right,
but, you know, if you're going into March and April and your child says, you know, that's just not gonna work for me, or they start talking to their friends, then have them reach out to the counselor, and we'll visit with them
okay.
and see what we can do. This is a reminder, our students here are on the Foundation High School program plan, a diploma plan, and we have a multidisciplinary endorsement, which includes 4 credits of English, math, science, and social studies are required, 2 language other than English, that's your foreign language, 1 PE credit requirement, 1 fine arts, and 6 electives for a total of 26 credits. In addition, our students, the EOC graduation requirement include English 1, English 2, Algebra 1, they're freshmen for most of them, that'll be their 9th grade year. English 1, Algebra 1, and Biology their 9th grade year, English 2 their 10th grade year, and US History their 11th grade year. And what's really important about this is that we really want our students to be successful the first administration, which doesn't always happen, but the state of Texas requires us to have remedial coursework available for our students who aren't successful. And so what happens is we have to pull them from electives or other things that they would prefer to be taking, and so that we can support them to get through these EOCs. Yes, sir?
Sorry,
No, it's fine.
So my son he took dual credit 1301 and 1302, which is comparative to English 1 and English 2. But, sorry, English 2 can count as dual credit 1301 and 1302, correct?
Dual credit 1301, 1302 for English 4?
You can take for English 4, yes ma'am, is that correct?
It's English 4, that's correct.
Okay, however, that's like 2 college classes. Why can't 1301 count for English 3 and and 1301, oh, I see we're talking about English 1, English 2.
Yes, sir.
But I'll ask the question later.
I understand where you're going with that.
I'd
Wait.
like to get my daughter out of one of her English classes and let it be made up by a dual credit
And that-
English class.
And we have a lot of students in their senior year, take 1301 and 1302 as dual credit in place of English 4 here on
Right.
our campus.
But 1301 technically is in place of English 3.
It can
And
be.
1302 is
Yes.
technically in place of English 4.
It can't. Well, it's only once, anyway, yes, we can talk about that. We'll be happy
Yes,
to
ma'am.
sit down and visit with you about it.
Okay.
And you are right about the third year. Any questions about the EOC? Okay. Students will select or register for 8 classes. One of those will be advisory. And it's just a local credit. Exceptions are eligible late arrival, early release. These are 11th and 12th graders only. We're still gonna ask the students to put in advisory and select that as an option. And then when we come back in the fall before the students return, then we make all those changes to give them the late arrivals, early releases. So they may see an advisory there, but it will come off of there once we have the parent permission form, or if I have a student who's already slated to take an early release, then if our advisory's at the end of the day, then I go ahead and change that advisory to an early release as well. And then we just ask the students to bring back their parent permission form. Of course, that is if they're on track. We check to make sure they're on track with all their credits. Then we ask the students, this is very important because a lot of students don't want to do this, is to select 3 alternate choices. And here's why it's so important. Once the master schedule's built, and there are occasions when their electives just won't fit in their schedule, so the first thing Mr. Brown and I are gonna go and do is look at what is their alternate choices. And we're going to pull those alternates from what they've selected to fit in their schedule, okay? And that's important to have that there. Again, the description guides here. Again, we advise our students to carefully choose their courses because what they select is what they should plan to be taking for next school year, okay? I think sometimes they forget that. Okay, Mr. Brown? Any questions about any of that?
Are we staying with block scheduling next year?
You know, it's my understanding that that's a conversation that's being had right now, but I don't have a definite answer yet.
So it's a big question to think about, whether they should take regular or honors classes. And regular is gonna be on grade levels, had expectations, some homework. Honors courses, advanced grade level, higher expectations, moves at a quicker pace, more in-depth learning, more outside learning. And if you're kind of wondering, go to about honors class versus the regular class, go to the course description catalog, and read up on it a little bit. But, yeah, I wish, I would like y'all to have the conversation with your kids, whether to take the honors or not, or AP level or, not. All right, foreign language requirement, we got 2 options, Spanish or computer science. Most of the kids take Spanish, I'll tell you that. Computer science is an honors class. It's a very difficult class. It's writing code. And unless your child is, I guess, a computer genius or something, I would kind of recommend sticking with Spanish.
My son did it, and he's not a genius at all.
Okay.
I
He barely ties his shoes.
I would just like to caution, students
It's a good
on the
class.
computer science, and we tell the students this as well. Some colleges may not recognize computer science as that language other than English requirement. So we ask them to look at the college they're considering and see if that is an option for language. We don't want them to get to their senior year, which has happened, that a student is applying to a university and that doesn't fulfill language requirement, and so they're now scrambling to take a foreign language, Spanish or what have you, so.
What universities does it not fulfill?
Sir?
Well,
What universities?
I can tell you one, is Texas A&M, College Station. For just general admission, yes, it's all right. But if you wanna get into the
Computer
College
science
of
program.
Engineering, they don't accept it, so.
But again, we caution them to do their homework or to work with us, and let's look and research and, look at the requirements on the website, so. Contact admissions.
And the other thing is, since it's an honors class, at a certain point in the first semester, I think, is it 6 weeks or 9
The
weeks?
first 6 weeks.
First 6 weeks, if a student is not passing the course, we pull them out of the course. And the deal about computer science is we do not have a regular computer science class to put them into. So then we have to
Get creative.
get creative. So anyway, PE can be satisfied by athletics, ROTC, band, PE, and cheer and dance. Band, the student really needs to be in band for 2 years, because the first semester, the marching season counts as the PE, and the concert season counts as the fine art. So in 2 years, they have fulfilled both of those requirements. Cheer and dance is out of school, but the cheer coach can sign off on, yes, they've done this amount of hours, enough hours to qualify for a PE credit, so that's how that works. The fine art credit can be satisfied through band, choir, theater arts, and art or digital art. And electives, kind of depends on the interest. But we've got several career clusters available. And first is our arts and audio video technology. Kind of the course, the foundation course to get into all the others is the principles of arts and audio video and communication course. The business and marketing, we got BIM 1 and 2, business, English, and financial math. Health science includes principles of health science, EKG, phlebotomy, anatomy, and physiology. The foundation course for that is the principles of health science, which is only a half-year course paired with medical terminology in the second semester. And so, hospitality and tourism, we've got culinary arts, and they have a very good program going. Information technology, that's the computer science stuff. Manufacturing, we have a welding program beginning with introduction to welding, going to welding 1, welding 2, and practicum. And we are lucky enough to have our maritime instructor here. This is Josh Nguyen, and he's going to tell you about the maritime program. It's the new one coming on board this next year.
All right, so my name's Josh Wynn. I'm starting the maritime program here at RFHS. The program really consists of 2 parts. The maritime program, which is a class that starts next year, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And we're gonna start off with basic safety. I mean, that first semester is brutal. It's gonna be boring. It's classwork, it's paperwork. You take tests online, it's boring. The second semester, we start getting into a lot better, what I like, hands-on, tactile. If you're thinking about my class, it's because y'all are interested in getting your hands dirty. We're gonna get into 12-volt electricity. We're gonna get your boater safety certificate from Texas Parks and Wildlife, so you can operate most of the ships, or jet skis, boats, etc. on the water. The 12-volt electricity, we're gonna learn that because we don't wanna get ripped off by someone that, is trying to fix your stuff. Automotive, boats, they 12-volt electricity, 24-volt systems. they go hand in hand. If you know how to fix a 12-volt system, you understand, how to do general maintenance on things. So that's your 9th grade. Then you've got 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, Principles of Maritime Science 1, Principles of Maritime Science 2, and then Advanced Engineering. Those combined, the goal is to get you guys jobs directly out of high school. And hopefully your captain's license. 6-pack is like what most of the guides have around here. We're gonna be shooting for your 50-ton captain's license. And in order to get there, we're gonna be using the club, which is the second part of that program, which is the club. We use the club to get sea time. The sea time is important for a captain's license because you need 365 days of being on the water before someone can say, hey, yeah, I'm ready to be a captain. At the very least, that person has the experience 365 days on the water. I have some of my maritime club here. They're going to be passing out some flyers to show off and if you have questions, by all means, ask them. The maritime program here is one of a kind. It really is going to be one of a kind. Corpus is trying to start something up like it. I started a program in Houston originally, which is the maritime program that TEA accepted, and that's what everybody's using currently. I came down here. I want to make it to what the Gulf Coast needs to be. Geographically, Houston is not the right spot. We're on the water. We should know how to be on the water, and we need to know how to be on the water safely.
It's really cool.
I have a question, I'm sorry. What type of I'm sorry. What type of jobs are you talking about, and are we talking about like right out of high school and?
Yeah, so the jobs that I've got on the table right now, and this is going to change, right? This is my first year here. I'm starting to reach out to industry. The responses we're getting are amazing. Things like businesses like Lydian Channel Fleet, Brownwater Marine, for example. They said that they'll take as many people that want to go with them to start working. They'll take it. Some of the contracts that I have on the table that I'm reading through and pre-negotiating for our seniors, because by then I don't want them to get taken advantage of. One of them right now says if you work with them for 5 years, their 6th year they'll make 6 figures. That's salary. So that's amazing for someone coming directly out of high school, getting into a job. 5 years, they're making 6 figures. Well, 6 years technically, but that's a pre-negotiated contract. So that's what I'm trying to set up for our graduating seniors for maritime. When they go to their senior year and when they come to my classroom, I should have, contracts on the table. Hey, this is a job that you'd be a good fit for. This is a job you'd be a good fit for. And then we read through the contracts together. The contracts, the reason I'm reading through them and not letting just the kids go out and get I think a lot of the kids coming out of high school don't have the experience with contracts, especially, to make those kind of big decisions without talking in layman's terms. Hope that answers your question. Any more questions? Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right. And you say we have some really exciting things going on in high school. Other elective options, yearbook, theater arts, production, art, ROTC, sports medicine, does require an application. Career prep, 2 periods, job required, 11th month grade on, and dual credit. So I think this next one,
Talk
are
about
you
dual
gonna
credit?
try to do the dual credit?
I am. I'm gonna wing it, even though Ms. Stevenson is our expert and works very closely with Del Mar. So, students who are entering 10th grade next year will be eligible to take dual credit if they meet the criteria. So dual credit students are enrolled with Del Mar and receiving high school credit and college credit at the same time. They are building their college transcript towards their college core curriculum. So, and all of our courses are pretty much aligned with what most universities consider their core curriculum. But again, it's a conversation to have with your child, to look at the college website and compare the transfer equivalency of what you're taking in Del Mar College. Is it transferable before you take that course, not after you've taken the course, right? And we help walk them through, how do we find that information, how do we look at it? What's important to know is that our students work in a computer lab, because these are remote classes. So they have a college professor that they're working with, but they're not getting face-to-face time with their teacher. They're not here on campus. So it does take a student who has some good time management skills and can work independently. We do have a facilitator in that classroom with them that works with the students with questions and things like that if they need help and support. But it is more so of more of an independent type coursework. Our registration, well, we've already started our registration for next semester, for next school year. So students have submitted their registration paperwork, or in the process of submitting their paperwork to Mrs. Stevenson. What's important about that is that these classes fill up. And so if they don't, if they don't get in early enough, then we have to start scrambling, looking for other options for them. Yes, sir?
They have to do TSI to do this, is that
We
right?
do, and there's some information about TSI too, I think here, coming up on the next slide. And so, yes, they have to take the TSI. So if you have a rising 10th grader student who's gonna be in 10th grade next year, how do they find out about the TSI? Ms. Stevenson usually posts dates in our Compass newsletter. She'll post dates on their Google Classroom, their grade level Google Classroom, so that they can sign up. And then they can always stop by the office and see when the upcoming TSI is going to be offered again. Ms. Schindler and Mr. Torres are now proctoring these TSIs, so they're helping with that. I don't have any specific dates.
Yeah, the next one is actually in February, but that one is kind of full, I think, already, so there'll be one in March. We're trying to do one at least once a month.
Right. So here, in order for students to be eligible, they have to meet the requirement through either the TSIA, or if they've taken the PSAT and met the scores SAT or ACT, they're required to complete the application to Del Mar, application and registration paperwork. And then that information goes to Mrs. Stevenson. You don't submit it directly to Del Mar. The registration packet goes to Mrs. Stevenson, and then Mrs. Stevenson sends it on to Del Mar College. Sampling of course offerings: psychology, sociology, speech, art, music, U.S. history, federal government, Texas government, which if students are going to be staying in Texas, we usually recommend Texas government because that's usually in that core curriculum. English. These are just a few of the courses that are offered through the dual credit. So some things to consider about dual credit, okay? It is an online instructional format, so will that work for your student? It's an opportunity to save money. These courses are $99 per course. I think we get a discount as well for the parents in addition to that, compared to paying $500, $600, $700 through the Del Mar program.
My son did 44 credits through it, and he graduated a year early. And my goal was to get him as far along as he could, so he wouldn't ask me for college money afterwards. But it's a great, I highly recommend the program. It's better than AP. AP is a company, and it's a racket because you take the class, and then you have to take the test. And if you don't test high enough on their AP test, you don't get any college credit at all. So your kids can go through a whole semester, a whole year, and then score a 1, not pass the AP, and you're messed. But these dual credit classes, the success rate is much greater. So my kids don't do any AP classes at all, and they don't. But the only thing about it is the way the program is set up here is that your kids have to sit in a computer lab by themselves all day, and it's not the most fun high school experience.
And for most of our students here, it's a blended schedule, so they're not in the computer lab all day long, but they can be be there for multiple class periods.
But you could, there's no reason that if you wanted to, you could get your child could graduate with close to an associate's degree. I mean, it's very probable.
Our conversation in the office is, we haven't had any graduates come back that took dual credit and ever say, darn, I wish I wouldn't have never taken dual credit, right? Miss Meek, when we spoke to the rising ninth graders the other evening, she had told that her story of her son who at Texas State, he went in with his freshman year already completed, and so he was a 3-year graduate and saved the family about $25,000, which looked really good on top of him being able to complete the degree. So it does provide a head start for those post-secondary plans. You are building a college transcript in high school, so we have to caution our students, you can't fail that class. If they do, there is an opportunity to retake it, but then now we're building your college transcript as well as finishing out your high school credits. It is offered in a controlled introduction to college, so they are getting at least an introduction there, even if it is in an online program. One thing that we will be talking with our students about as we came together as a team, so that there's not a lot of confusion as we're moving forward for registration. When a student is making their course request, we're not going to have them request their dual credit. So if I was an 11th grader and I plan to take U.S. history as an 11th grader, and what we're going to ask them to do is to request U.S. history. They can request honors, and once the paperwork has been submitted to Mrs. Stevenson, and Mrs. Stevenson sends us an email or gives us the list of students that yes, we have their registration, it's been submitted, they have been placed in the class, then we'll make the changes on our side to put them in the dual credit classes. Because it becomes such a difficult task in the fall semester with matching up what Del Mar had and what the student wanted and what we have. So we want to try to clean that up, and this is our plan to help with that. Is there any more questions about dual credit? There's our contact information. This is being recorded tonight, so if you want to go back and review it, we'll have the PowerPoint on our website, and then we'll also have the recording tonight for you, so you think, oh, what did they talk about, or what was that they said? Then you'll be able to go back and review. Do we have any questions? Well, we so appreciate your time. We know you're busy, and we hope this has been informative and helpful with making your selections for next year. And tell your students to start thinking about what they want to take. Let them show you their graduation requirements, and we'll be meeting with them later this week and starting next week. Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you.